Hey, Shannon. Good afternoon. We'll now call to order the regular Village Council meeting of December 9th, 2025. As is our custom, we will begin with an invocation, this time from Mr. Brady Smith, President of the Fayetteville Stake of the Church of the Latter-day Saints. Please, Pastor.
Thank you very much. Our Heavenly Father, we are so grateful to Thee for this day and for the opportunity we have to gather. We pray for, in gratitude, for this great area, the Sandhills of North Carolina, specifically the village of Pinehurst. We pray for the well-being of the people of this great community. We're thankful for them and for all that they do and who they are, and we ask a blessing on them that they may, in all the good they do, that they will continue to serve those who are underserved in the community and abroad. We're grateful for those who serve on this village council, Mayor Patrick Pizzella and John Taylor as council members, John Taylor and Barb Ficklin, Jack Farrell, and now Kevin Fitzpatrick and Jeremy Hooper, village manager Doug Willardson, and the clerk Shannon Constantino. We pray that that will help them to know that when you're in the service of your fellow beings, you're only in the service of your God. We bless them and ask for a blessing on them that as they consider the matters of this council today and always, that, and especially the weightiest of those matters, that we ask for a blessing of peace and respect, understanding and a good knowledge of the right choices to make. Bless them that as they make correct choices, that they will focus on the benefits to the wonderful people of this village and all who visit here. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. We will now go on as we usually do with reports from the village manager and members of the council. So, Doug, we'll begin with you. Go right ahead.
Thank you. I want to recognize that this past weekend we had our annual tree lighting festivities. Luckily, the weather held, so we didn't have any Grinch sightings, which worked out great for us. Also, since our last meeting, we had our pop-up fair barn event and our shop small season, so we're grateful for everyone that participated and helped support our local businesses. We've had I will say, difficult project downtown for the last several months, but we are at the very final stages of that. So this Thursday, they are planning on paving that. The road will still be open on Magnolia, one lane at a time. So don't feel afraid to come visit downtown still, but we are close to finishing that project up. Another thing I want to do is recognize Nicole Benbow. She's one of our Parks and Rec employees, and she recently graduated in the 36th cohort of the Moore County Leadership Institute, so congratulations to her. Also, We had 610 youth participants sign up for youth basketball. So the community center is very packed in weeknights. I think that's about a 14% increase over what we've had previously. So very popular. And last of all, several months ago, we talked about submitting a request to have a Donald Ross stamp to the U.S. Postal Service. We heard back from them that they are considering that, so it didn't get lost in the mail. It's not all the way done yet, but we are working towards making that happen. That's all.
Thank you, Doug. Let me begin by just pointing out the swearing in of our two new council members. It's a bit of history repeating itself because these two newly elected members to the council represent the third straight election cycle that the residents of Pinehurst have chosen rookies to join the council. A wise person once said that change brings opportunity, and I think these two well-qualified community leaders will be a big plus to the village council. We look forward to your ideas and input and hearing from you throughout the course of the next 2 years. So congratulations and thank you. On some general notes of a report, compliments to the staff in particular for pulling off that tree lighting ceremony because the crowd was humongous. And though many of us were nervous for the day before and the day of, the weather cleared and it was I think a terrific event. This past couple of weeks, because we've had some time between Thanksgiving and now, myself and John Taylor and Barb Ficklin, we both all had lunch with the Sandhills Women's Exchange, who hosted us at their cabin. It was a nice event, and we got to learn a little bit more about the Sandhills Women's Exchange, and they're a big part of the history of this village, and we want to look forward to keep working with them wherever we can. I had the opportunity to attend and address the Homeowners Association of Pinehurst number 6, as well as the Homeowners Association of Pinehurst number 7 in the last few weeks. Both were large, energetic groups of our residents who turn out for these events and had a healthy amount of questions. And particularly at number 7, number 6, I was more of a observer, though I got called out. It was like on, what was that thing called on the cam on, what's that thing called where someone was caught with somebody they shouldn't have been with? Anyway, I was there as I should have been. And but both these communities are very vibrant and their residents are very involved, and that's a healthy sign for the future of the village and the way we will function as a council. So that really covered the last 2 weeks, and we look forward, obviously, to this meeting, which will be our last one for this calendar year. We will not reconvene until January as a council. So I'll ask Mayor Pro Tem John Taylor for any of his comments.
First of all, Pat, I think your opening comments suggest that the power of incumbency might not be as great as we think.
Right.
Rookies keep winning, but throw the bums out. On behalf of the office of the Mayor Pro Tem, I would like to welcome both of our two new members. I think as you have both been fairly frequent attenders to our past meetings, and you know that I think our discussions are always open here, but I would also like to remind you that brevity is the soul of wit. Since the last meeting, I also, as Pat said, we were at the lunch at the Sandhills Women's Exchange. It was good to hear about some of the work that they continue to do there. I was at the tree lighting. Much nicer weather this year than a year ago. I recall a year ago it being extremely cold, so it was nicer and it didn't rain. Doug, just a question for you. 610 participants in youth basketball. Round numbers, how long, what is the time period they play in? Ballpark, how many teams do we have?
So they play starting now. Practices started last week, and it goes, I think, mid-February is the season. And how many teams that is, I would say 610 divided by 10, so we got 61.
60, but I mean, are they playing from like 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night?
Oh, Yeah, so they're using both our community center and the elementary school for games and practices. But yes, it starts, I forget the first one, but 5:30 till last one's like probably 8 o'clock.
That's fantastic, both the participation rate and what have you. The only official meeting I think that I attended was a week ago, or this past Wednesday, the Technical Coordinating Committee meeting of the Sand Hills Metropolitan Planning Organization. And I think there are a number of issues that they're working on, but one of them is participating in a county-wide, what I would call a bottoms-up forecast of population. And I think it was interesting to note that the population forecast that not just Pinehurst, but all of the communities, both in the SMPO and elsewhere in the county, and came to about 160,000 out in 2050. That is about 20,000 people lower than the state demographer was forecasting just a year ago. And that will have potential impacts on a number of things, not least of which is the traffic circle. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you, John. Barb Ficklin, please.
Thank you. First of all, my welcome and congratulations to my two new council colleagues. I would agree with John, brevity is the soul of wit, so I'll make this brief. I did want to mention, if you happen to miss the tree lighting, the mayor announced the winners of the Beautification Committee Decorating Contest. The entries were judged based on theme, creativity, difficulty to create, and overall effect. The recipients received a temporary sign to display in their yard or business, a gift card to Greenhaven Farm, a 2025 Pinehurst ornament, and a framed certificate signed by the mayor. The gift cards, by the way, were $50 for first place, $35 for second place, and $25 for third. We had a great response from our village merchants this year with 10 entries. The business recipients, our first place was the Gentry team at the casino building, 5 Chinquapin. Second place went to Cameron and Company, 105 Cherokee, and third place Caldwell Banker at 30 Chinquapin. Our residence recipients were, in first place, Michelle Ashley, 350 St. Andrews Drive. Second place went to Jared Gouty, 165 Dundee Road, and third place to Kyle Mayer, 115 Bardesraw. So, thank you all, those of you who participated, and take a moment if you can to enjoy the many decorations that are around the village, especially at night when it is lit up. One last thing, speaking of evening in Pinehurst, last evening the Pinehurst Business Partners Group met for their Christmas party at the Purple Thistle. It was very well attended and a very special event this year because the Purple Thistle will be moving to Aberdeen in January of this coming year. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Barb. I'm now going to turn to Jeremy Hooper, one of our newly elected council members, who in his own right has made some history. I think he's the only member in recent history I can recall of a member of this body who's under the age of 50. So you are really helping change the numbers here, particularly in a community where the minimum age is 60, medium age. So
Also the beauty level as well. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there.
Never been accused of any of those.
go, but please, Jeremy.
Mayor, thank
Welcome.
you. And I'll stay away from a lot of the age conversations, but I appreciate that point. However, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, staff. Thank you for everyone that is here tonight to celebrate this first day with Kevin and I. So we won't let you down. Thank you very much for being here. I have never been accused of having good brevity. I will do my best. So I will catch up, I promise. It's okay to slap me down every once in a while if we go forward. as well as attending the Christmas light. I was going to make the same point that Barb did. It's beautiful to have all the people down there on a Friday night and light up the Christmas tree for the village. But if you've never been there on a Tuesday night when it's a little bit quieter and all of the beauty and the decorations are out, that's really when we're very, very special. So I think an extra special thanks to Doug and staff and the people who actually make that happen is in order from all of us. So thank you for doing that, because I think we get to appreciate, celebrate, and soak that in, but you guys are the one that makes that happen. So thanks for keeping our village great.
Yeah, well, it's certainly a village effort when it comes to Christmas lighting downtown, because all those businesses that Barb mentioned make it beautiful as well, so.
Last question, I'm done. Are you still going to coach basketball in the youth league?
So I will say that I'm going to retire while on top, so.
All right.
So we went 6-2 last year, so.
You didn't get caught up in the portal or anything like that, no? Okay. All right. Thank you, Jeremy. Kevin Fitzpatrick, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, village staff, and members of the community. I'd like to express my sincere appreciation for the trust the people of Pinehurst have placed in me. It's an honor to serve this remarkable village.
Be covering.
Yes, we get 3 years regardless of when it starts,
Yeah,
correct?
we talked about this internally, and I think our recommendation is to just keep it as the March date, but it's more likely than not that they're going to move it forward. They just had 40 days where they were not working, and they're just catching up, and I think it'll be sooner rather than later that we get approval for hiring them as soon as we are willing to start.
That could be January?
It
Or
could be January.
Okay, well, that's
Yeah.
good. You'll let us know. And
Yeah.
It's manageable, given what's gone on with the federal government and so forth. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead, please continue. Thank you.
Yep, and so in order to accommodate the additional 6 positions that were authorized by council when the grant was accepted, adding those to headcount, we need to add the funds to the general fund budget, since those positions were not included in the original budget for this fiscal year. So we're increasing the fire department appropriations for the salaries, overtime, and benefits for those 6 positions, which totals $214,500, and that is for January through June, so half the fiscal year, basically. Then going forward, those 6 positions will be included in the regular annual budget ordinance, starting with next fiscal year. Then we're also adding to the FY26 budget, we need funding to purchase uniforms, turnout gear, and radios for those 6 positions. Those are the kind of one-time upfront costs that are absolutely necessary to outfit these firefighters and have them ready to serve. There are some additional costs that will be added to the ongoing budget for physicals, training, things like that, but we can absorb any that are necessary in this fiscal year, in this year's budget, and going forward in future fiscal years, those will just be incorporated into the department's annual budget request. So the total for those kind of upfront one-time costs is $78,700. And so those will be added to this year's budget to make those purchases so that those individuals have all the gear they need. Then we are adding the estimated grant revenues for the federal share of those expenditures, and that's 75% of the estimated salaries and benefits. That goes in the restricted intergovernmental revenues category when you look at the budget ordinance. And finally, to increase the fund balance appropriation, which represents the village's share of the expenditures, since it was not included in the original budget. So those are the adjustments that we are making. You'll see them summarized here in the ordinance. So increasing the fire expenditures by a total of $293,200. And then the revenue split, it's almost 50-50 this year, but that is because of the approximately $78,000 of kind of one-time operating costs that are the purchases of equipment for the firefighters. In future years, the federal funding portion will be substantially larger than the village's share.
Even though they're going to be providing less money, and is that the reason for that? Is that because there's the one-time cost occurs now for the equipment and the uniforms?
Yes.
Yeah, they
If I'm
pay
understanding your question.
75% of salaries. They don't cover the equipment costs. So it's a
Yeah.
one time that we have to pay for those to start
But if
with.
they're gonna start January 1, they need the turnout equipment and so forth, otherwise they can't
Yeah.
really do their job, so.
Yeah, no matter when they start, the turnout gear and all that one-time equipment's our cost as a village.
Yep.
And look, we're getting close to Christmas. The government is not gonna work faster than it does other times of year. That's pretty clear.
Depends.
Is there any practical difference between them starting February 1 or not? I mean, it looks like the 214 is $36,000 a month, round numbers. That's not significant relative to the total budget, so I'm not sure it matters, but is there any plus or minus to just saying Feb 1 with more certainty than Jan 1, which they may not make just because of the holidays?
And January 1 is not, well, wasn't even really what we were planning on. We need to start on a payroll day, so when
We
payroll
don't,
starts.
we don't need to, but we prefer to, and I think it also aligns a little better with the way the fire shifts run. But, yeah, our plan was that the actual start date would be January 10th, which is the first day of a pay period.
So then it's even less. It's 20 days, 21 days in January, not even 30. And are the people that we have identified, are they fully trained and ready to, I'll say, hit the ground running?
Yeah, the
or-
majority of them are in the academy right now with the expected graduation date of sometime this month.
Okay. Other questions, comments?
Is there any danger of losing these candidates if we have to push out their start date?
Yes, they are certainly, there's nothing stopping them from obtaining other employment, or when we do give them a start date saying thanks but no thanks, and then we would need to go through the recruiting process again to fill those positions.
And they're expecting January 1.
They have not been told a start date yet at this point, as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
And they know that it's just contingent on us getting the final approval, from FEMA as to when the start date can be.
What, if any, risk is there that SAFER grant is done away with entirely?
I have not heard anything about that. I would hope that if that were
Yeah, we
Going
have
to
agreements
happen.
that we've entered
We
into
already
at this
have,
point.
correct, we already have executed agreements, and the funding is already
So this is a matter,
appropriated.
this is just
at
a
the
matter
federal
of-
level.
This is just a matter of timing.
Yes,
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think I would agree with where Kevin was going, that I think we're probably better off taking the bird in the hand, because we can absorb the cost even if this is delayed, a pay period, 2 pay periods, whatever it is.
Yeah, when we received the grant, they said it starts in March, and then we requested, oh, can we start a little earlier? And they said, yep, we'll consider that, and then the government shut down. So I think we'll hear back soon, so we'll just work through that process and see when it comes in.
We have more important things that we want to achieve by starting this whole process anyway. And again, if the risk is that we have to pick up a couple of months while the gears grind, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Other comments or questions? All right, hearing none, we'll, is there a motion?
I move to approve ordinance 25-19, amending the fiscal year 2026 general fund budget for the SAFER grant.
Do we have a motion?
Second?
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion adopted. Thank you, Dana.
thank you.
We'll move on to item number 8, which is new business. And the first item here is the review and approval of the 2026 Key Partners and Collaborators assignments. And I think, just as a refresher, I know we discussed this amongst ourselves, and actually we discussed it in a previous meeting. At the beginning of the year, we divvy up, shall we say, the partners that the village works with, like the Tri-Cities Work Group and the resort and First Health and the NCDOT and so on. And we assign 1 or 2 council members to sort of take the lead on those particular assignments. Some require a little more work than others, and so we've in discussions, we've come up with this list, and of course, it could change from time to time. It reflects our new council members, and if there's anything else we want to discuss about this or change, we can do that. But I'm curious about anyone's thoughts. We obviously have, I'll just run down them so those who are watching or listening can hear what we're discussing. One has to do with partnering with the NCDOT and the SMPO. That would be myself and Mr. Taylor. Then there's the one with the North Carolina State Government and Legislative Actions. That would be myself and Mr. Hooper. There's the Tri-Cities Work Group. That's a group that meets maybe every other month or at least quarterly with the mayors and town managers of Southern Pines, Aberdeen, and ourselves. That would be myself and Mr. Hooper. Then we have the Moore County Economic Development Partnership, and they meet a little more than quarterly. I attend those meetings, and Mr. Taylor does also from time to time. Then we have the what were listed as collaborators, so they're not sort of official organizations that we are members of and have sort of a responsibility with, but they're like the Pinehurst Resort, and that would be myself and Kevin Fitzpatrick. Moore County NCDOT specifically would be Mr. Taylor and Mr. Hooper. That relates itself to what we discussed in our last council meeting or two as to having Jeremy and John Taylor continue the discussion process primarily with NCODOT about the traffic circle. We have Moore County Schools, which really deals with events and programs that may take place with them, and that would be Kevin Fitzpatrick. We have the Central Pines Regional Council, which we may want to discuss a little more. We have Kevin and Barb Ficklin. In the past, it was Dr. Morgan was with Barb there. We have the Pinehurst Business Partners, which is an organization, and that we meet with, we meaning really Barb has been the link on that, and she would continue to do it. And these represent largely the businesses that are located in downtown Pinehurst. We have the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and that's been John Taylor, who's been attending that. We have the Chamber of Commerce, which Barb Ficklin has attended. Then we have the National Park Service, which Jack Farrell used to be the lead dog on, and I thought we talked about Barb and Kevin stepping into both that role because they both have an interest and knowledge in this area. And we have First Health, which we partner with them on events and other things that go on with First Health, which is our largest employer in the village of Pinehurst. And that's Kevin Fitzpatrick, who's obviously a perfect fit given his background in the healthcare industry. And we have the Regional Land Use Advisory Commission, which deals with growth and environmental sustainability issues. And of course, Jeremy has a particular background in that area of growth and development and land use in particular, having just completed over a year's tour of duty on, I think, the Moore County Land Use Planning Committee, as well, of course, having been a member of our Pinehurst Village Planning and Zoning Board. And then we have we wanted to formalize the relationship with Dornoch Scotland, the Mutual Benevolence Agreement to honor the work and legacy of Donald Ross. And myself and John Taylor will pick up the responsibility there and working closely, of course, with Doug in almost all these categories. We're working closely with Doug and/or one of the staff who sort of has a particular interest in one of these areas. and John Strickland had done yeoman's work in this recent sort of kickoff meeting and gathering when we had visitors here from Scotland. And then there are two other committees that are formal advisory committees. One is the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, and Jack used to be on that, and Jeremy Hooper I think you've recently joined it, so you're going to be, you will be the liaison, but we do need to probably backfill a spot or two there because Mr. Sale stepped down also. And there's no limit as to how many people we can add there. If there's interest on citizens' part, we can probably make room for someone to be on that. But it dovetails with our multimodal transportation efforts, and there's a good deal of interest in the community regarding pedestrian walkways and bicycle paths. And then finally, one that gets talked about often, and Barb Ficklin's been the key person on the beautification committee, and she's continually giving us updates and attends their meetings, and they, of course, their work is known to many because we see it visually from time to time on various events. So that's the lineup now. Things can change during the course of the year, but I think it's a good sort of guide stone for which we might undertake. I wonder if anybody has any additional thoughts or comments of these. I know there's some question. I had a discussion with Barb regarding the Central Pines Regional Council as to whether that is duplicative and whether or not how much we should be engaged in. Barb, do you want to address that a little?
Yes, the Central Pines Regional Council is a conglomerate of several, I think like 7 counties.
Yeah.
And I was assigned to that committee or to that organization last year, and when I joined their first meeting via Zoom, they're out of Durham, I was told that Pinehurst had lost its vote. So we could not vote in the conversation, and it was around some DOT issues. The reason being that we were part of SMPO. So Dr. Morgan was also on the committee. However, he was not involved in the day-to-day meetings. He was on their board of directors. And I looked through their website today, and they're showing positions vacant for Pinehurst. It is a large organization. So, and I had talked to Pat about what we might be able to do, Kevin and I, since we're both on the committee, number one, touch base with Doug to see what kind of a financial arrangement we have with them, if any. And then secondly, meeting with key members of that organization to see how we can work together, or should we be if we don't even have a vote.
Yeah, so Barb, you must have joined one of their regional planning organization meetings, which we are no longer part of because we are part of our own SMPO, our own metropolitan planning organization. But yes, Jeff Morgan was on the board, which is what we're actually assigning here, who would be our village representative on that board of Central Pines Regional Council. They are the ones that host our Tri-Cities meeting. There is value, and we do pay a dues to them. I don't know if we need 2 members, so if Jeremy wants to take the lead on that, and we can assign Barb as the alternate if Jeremy is unable to attend.
It's Kevin.
Oh, it's Kevin?
Yeah.
I'm already trying to diss Kevin, and it's only been an hour.
Kevin, does that sound agreeable to you?
However Barb wants to manage this is fine with me.
Okay.
We can work together. We can work
All right.
together. So.
All right, well, then we'll leave this in place, and the details will be worked out with Doug about how we
Yeah,
structure our arrangement. Is that all
I'll
right?
make sure the right people are connecting with the 2 of you so that you get invited to all the right meetings, to the actual board meetings, and not ones that are not intended for us.
Great, thank you.
Doug, I think I had asked Jeff about this a few meetings ago, and leaving aside the transportation side, which we're no longer part of, I thought they had some role in the flow of potential government grant money. Am I misstating that?
Nope, that's not their main function, but yes, if there are grant funds that become available, they are a conduit that we can potentially receive them through.
So we definitely want to maintain our relationship there in the event something looks appropriate or attractive to us.
Yeah, and every community in Moore County is a member of Central Pines, so it's not unusual, and I think it does provide us the ability to have leverage at a higher level in the region and at the state as well, if we can work together with them.
Okay, all right. Sounds to me like we're,
Yeah,
just got we're set with a little clarification on Central Pines, and you all can work that out, okay?
yeah, I think we could, if someone wanted to make a motion as presented, I think we could do it that way. It's probably easiest.
Okay. Go ahead, item 8A on the,
I move to approve the 2026 Key Partners and Collaborators assignments as presented and stated by the village manager.
motion?
Second?
In a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion adopted. Okay, now we can go on to item 9, which are resolutions.
Yep, so we have 3 resolutions here, which are formally designating these members to certain boards or committees that we just made in our liaison agreement. So the first is appointing a delegate and alternate to the Central Pines Regional Council, which we talked will be Kevin and Barb. Assigning a voting member and alternate to the Sand Hills Metropolitan Planning Organization, which will be Pat and John. And then the Regional Land Use Advisory Committee voting representative will be Jeremy. So we can add those names into the motions and move forward with those.
Questions?
Just for the purpose of properly stating the motion, who will be the delegate to CPRC and who is the backup?
CPRC, Kevin is the delegate and Barb is the, unless you want to tell me otherwise.
Sounds like a green light. Okay. All righty, so any discussion on any of these 3, A, B, or C? Or shall we proceed and with a motion? And we
I
can
move
adopt
to
it?
approve Resolution 25-55, appointing Kevin Fitzpatrick as the delegate and Barb Ficklin as the alternate delegate for the Village of Pinehurst on the Central Pines Regional Council Board of Delegates.
Motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that resolution 2555 is adopted. Go ahead, resolution 2556. This is the one to designate.
I
the-
move to
the-
approve Resolution 25-56, appointing Mayor Pat Pizzella as the voting member and John Taylor as the voting alternate for the Village of Pinehurst on the Sand Hills Metropolitan Planning Organization, SMPO, Governing Board.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion adopted. And item C, land use.
I move to approve Resolution 2557, appointing Jeremy Hooper as the Regional Land Use Advisory Commission voting representative for the Village of Pinehurst.
Okay, motion,
Second.
second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we've now adopted those 3 resolutions, and we now have in place our key partners and collaborators assignments for the coming year. Thank you, council. The next item on the agenda is general business, and under that, we have one topic, which is to discuss and approve the installation of brick sidewalks, perhaps, in front of 25 and 35 Dogwood Road in the village. So, Doug, do you want to,
Yeah, I can give us the
Up, and
highlights
then we
to
can-
set this up. We had a council member request that we consider looking at this. So kind of looking at the map here. Here's Market Square, and so if we're looking at Dogwood, it would be, we have a sand clay path from basically here at Dugan's Pub, and in front of 15, 25, and 35, well, in front of 15 and 25, it is a sand clay path. The residents at 15 prefer having the sand clay path, and in front of their home, it's fairly flat. The sand clay path is actually in pretty good condition. And so if they're happy, we can be happy with it. I mean, we could potentially force them to a brick sidewalk, but I don't think there's an appetite to do that. In front of 25, though, there's been a continual problem that it gets washed out. the grade's much steeper there. It's been a problem for years and years and years. We had talked about bricking it in the past. There was discussions that, it might put our national landmark use in somewhat of jeopardy. I think those might be a little overstated. I think that this is a very small portion, and there's a serious safety concern there. And so if we were doing that, I also talked to the owners of 35 Dogwood. They are currently a bluestone gravel walkway right there. They would be interested in, as well, in having that brick. And then this corner, 140 Magnolia, it's actually a brick sidewalk up to about this point of the road here. So to move from here up to 15 Dogwood, we're estimating in the $30-ish thousand range. I actually got a quote yesterday. It was $40,000, but that is the one that I expected to be very high. So I think we'll probably get a lower one. And we have the ability to make some changes, budget amendments within our budget and public services to cover this. I just want to make sure that council is on board with us moving forward with this project.
Yeah.
And
John, you
if I
want?
could,
Yeah.
full disclosure, I was the council person who was approached by the owner of 25. I also spoke to the people at 15 who said, we'd really like you to leave that alone. And the only other comment that I would make is that the entire rest of that block and the sidewalk across the street from that block are already brick. Now, the owner of 25 did not insist on brick. They just wanted something more permanent than the different materials that we've tried in the past, which not only wash out, but actually produce sort of rutting that could be it'd be easy to twist an ankle or something like that in there. So they were not insisting on brick. I think that is probably the most compatible. If we use a Historic Preservation Commission phrase, it'd be the most congruous.
We can put asphalt in, if you want.
We'd pave it with anything, but yes. So just that for clarification.
Okay. Anybody have any other thoughts or questions on this? Kevin, you have some knowledge in the sidewalk world.
It's been a great success at 6, and I think it'll be a great improvement for these properties.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank you.
Doug, just a couple points, a couple questions from me. I do think that treading with some prudence to the National Park Service, because they very explicitly stated, this is a concern that we have about Pinehurst is turning.
Please speak in the mic, Jim.
Sorry about that, Mayor. So they very directly and explicitly stated, this is a concern that we have on Pinehurst, which is changing clay paths to brick.
Yep.
And I know it's very incremental and small. Do we have a plan to where exactly, or a path structure to where we plan on keeping the clay paths?
I would say at this point, everything else, there is no plan to change, so it would just remain sand clay.
And Jeremy, I would add to that, I actually, after this request, drove around Old Town. And with the exception of, frankly, a piece of property that I used to own that has suffered the same issue, although to a lesser extent, I couldn't find another place where I thought you had the combination of a substantial downgrade across a single property. So it's not clear to me that there would be anyone else who would come forward and say, hey, what about in front of my house? I'm not saying that's conclusive, but I really did drive all the streets in downtown, couldn't find another place where it looked like there either had been that deterioration or where there might be because of the topography.
Certainly makes sense. I think, I'm aware of that as well, and driving downtown. So I just think that we have to tread lightly over the MPS. I think at some point in time, maybe our pedestrian committee, maybe we discuss maybe a mapping of where we plan to keep clay paths. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, and potentially even restore sand clay. Sometimes in the past, sand clay has caused issues, and so we've moved to a similar looking Chapel Hill grit that looks the same but has better compatibility. But yes, I think that's something the BPAT can look at and make recommendations on.
And then the second suggestion that I've had as well is really consistency of the sidewalks throughout the village. Even in McKenzie now, we have a long stretch of concrete.
Yeah.
Then we have the bluestone, and then we have brick and path. So I think that I would suggest that's another topic that maybe we discuss inside BPAT.
Yep.
Other comments or questions? Okay, hearing none. I think you were looking for a green light, so I think you have the green light, Doug.
Sounds good.
Okay. Now we will go on to other business. I have two little things I wanted to mention. I could have mentioned them at the beginning, but I decided to wait for other business. One is, and I referred to it a moment ago, the relationship between Dornoch and the village of Pinehurst. This mutual arrangement that we think will bear some good dividends over a period of time between our two communities, given the birthplace of Donald Ross and the workplace of Donald Ross. Many of us participated or attended the events that went on during that very successful weekend. I want to compliment all the folks that worked on that, and particularly Doug and Kristen and former Mayor Strickland, who was very much involved. And of course, our local historian of expertise, Audrey Moriarty, who kept dazzling people with bits of information, some that didn't know actually occurred. But now we know more about Donald Ross and Pinehurst. So, and we've formalized a couple of partners to keep our relationship going. But I think it's going to be a big plus for the village, and which brings me to the issue: is Donald Ross's statue due back soon? Did you mention that earlier?
Yeah, it gets its annual cleanup in November, so I'll check and see when that might come back.
Okay, all right. It really didn't matter Christmas
Well,
tree
yeah, I
lighting
mean, that
because
is why
that's
we-
where Santa Claus was
Yeah,
sitting.
that is why we do it this time of year, is because
Okay.
the Christmas lights go there.
All right. The second thing I wanted to mention, and I've done this from time to time, is I do look rather quickly at the Pinehurst Police Department's daily reports, the brief summary they send out. And on November 18th, my eyes lit up a little because it was the largest amount of items I've ever seen them tackle in a day. They had 155 calls that they responded to in one way or another. And it's usually around 100, sometimes significantly less, sometimes a little more. But so I thought I'd tally them up so that people would understand that our police department is doing a lot of things that people may not see, but are out there helping us remain the safe community we are, and being available when our residents call, whether it's a false alarm at their home, whether it's just a business check in our downtown area. But to give you an idea, on that date of November 18th, the department's police force issued 37 citations. Those are tickets. Those are actual tickets written to drivers, usually speeding tickets. In addition, they issued 13 warnings, written warnings. So on top of the 37, they gave 13 written warnings, and then they had 5 verbal warnings. So they're trying to keep the streets as safe as they can in our roadways. There were 4 crash reports that they had to attend to on that one day. And perhaps it was because we were on the cusp of the holiday season there. They made 18 business checks where they were asked to stop by in some cases, or they were just doing it in the course of their work. And that was a lot. And they were involved in the one mental patient being committed at First Health. So never a dull moment for our police department. I want to thank them for what they do out there, and hope we all recognize that a quiet community is a sign of an effective police force. And so we should be happy about that. And thank Chief Webb and his entire team. So those were just 2 other business items I wanted to mention. I'll defer now to my colleagues if they have other items they'd like to bring up. John?
Just with respect to the visiting contingent from Dornoch that was here the weekend before Thanksgiving, I belatedly got around to sending a thank you note to them yesterday, and got back from every single one of them a very nice response to my note, and they really think that we blew the doors off. So great credit to village staff, to Audrey. They thought that they felt hosted, and they also felt that there was a lot of meat on the bone in terms of talking about how this relationship can be something other than just two pieces of paper. And, you know, we know that they have information in their History Links Museum about Donald Ross and his early years that we may not have, and we certainly have. Arguably, he spent more time here. I think he was 27 when he came here, I think, something like that. But, so he was here longer than he was there. So we may have more material and more of the material that ultimately gave rise to the fame that he quite rightly enjoys. But I just, I thought it was worth mentioning that they're looking forward to ways for this to become more concrete. And I think it probably, we are as well, and so we look forward to continuing the discussion.
Barb, do you have anything? Nope. Kevin? Jeremy? Okay, that includes other business. I think we're timely now to take a quick break.
Move to adjourn the regular meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's break for, I don't know, 7.